All right, so this is last conclave session 5. Yes, 5. When we last left off, you guys had uh, explored the rest of the temple. You had created lightsabers. You had spent about a month practicing training with Master Kwan. Um, and you had been discovered by 4 random adventurers looking to raid the temple, but you let them go and they went off planet. You had thought about looking for some sort of transport that you could buy. So you went to the landing pad, which is the biggest settlement near where you were. And the guy there had told you, Pond, that you could go to Glingdang, which is like a huge scrapyard, and talk to Audrin. But you should go there because you might be able to get a ship, but also Audrin owes this guy quite a lot of money, and he wants you to kind of lean on him. So that's where you guys were. We doing Destiny here? Yeah, sorry. Here we go. All right. Yeah, so you guys had just about left and began walking through the huge forests of Endor. There's no paths in the woods, and most of the people who travel from like city to city on Endor just go via ship because it's safer. The forest is quite dangerous. The walk definitely feels good. Feels good to be moving again and like hone your skills in the deep of the woods, like hunting. And I guess you would stick to your training to some extent every morning. You probably meditate and do some training. What do you think?
Absolutely, trying to become akin with the lightsabers that we've only recently finished constructing.
Yeah, since Colt is still on his training saber, he'll let those guys focus on that. He's going to work on his physicality, and most importantly, he's going to work on his disguise, which if you look right here, this is what he's pieced together from his trip into town. Basically like a really shitty cargo outfit, but he's trying to get down a type of like a gruff exterior and a persona to make people think that he's an outlaw. Colt Cabrera.
You guys are able to move through the forest without much issue. You have a few sorry, you have a few skirmishes with forest creatures as you wander through the woods, but with all your meditation and stuff, you're able to stay on track. Whenever possible, I assume, rather than killing these creatures, you try and use the force to send them away. I assume that Dante is that's his speciality.
Yeah, any situation that arises, if we can scare them off or can charm them and make them move on their way, would prefer that.
Yeah, no problem. That's what I figured. Yeah, so with that, it takes you quite a while. It takes you maybe 2 weeks to walk all the way to Glingdang, and you can see it as you kind of crest the hill looking down. Small little town, really just a street with some buildings in it. And behind it, this vast, hundreds of acres, huge scrapyard. You can see like big, thick clouds of smog and stuff above it. And you can even make out a huge droid in there that's like picking up massive amounts of crap and like throwing it into the droid's stomach, which seems to be an incinerator. This place is way bigger, I think, than you thought it would be. It looks pretty industrious for such a small town next to the absolutely enormous landfill. Yeah, and in the town, it looks like there's a bunch of junkers and stuff working here. There's a cantina, there's a large stone building, and some houses for people to live in.
Where should we start our search for this man, Audrin? Should we hit up the cantina?
Didn't your contact say he was associated with a junkyard? Perhaps we could just go straight there.
And Colt like looks around at all the junk everywhere and he says, okay, maybe if we ask one of the droids or somebody, they can point us to him. Can't be too many scrappers here.
Named Audrin. Yeah, we'll do just that. Try and find a nearby droid or someone who looks as if they're employed by the junkyard or working in the junkyard.
Yeah, you'll notice that there's quite a few as you walk through this little town. Quite a few people sitting outside. like begging for credits. Just like in the shelter of various buildings, the rain pelts down, as it tends to do on Endor. And you could ask one of those, or you could simply ask one of the security men outside one of the buildings.
I'll give a beggar a couple of credits and ask them if they know a junker named Odrin.
Know him. Yeah. That fuck. He lives in the big stone house over there.
You bear some ill will to him, it seems.
I used to work here. No, I don't. It's his doing.
Very good. Thank you. I wish you better luck. I'll leave for the credits and rejoin my companions and point out the stone house.
Well, that was easy. Shall we just go knock?
I looked at Dante. I'll say to you guys, it seems. I'll just say quickly. Yeah, it seems as if some of these workers here have been laid off and bear some ill will to this man Odrin.
Dante will say, well, our journey here took some time, and I believe in this instance, direct approach will hopefully save us some more time.
All right. Don't be taken aback by what you're about to witness, my comrades. For now, I will transform into the outlaw, Colt Cabrera. Observe. And I will slink across, and my posture goes from like really straight, like carrying my weight like an athlete, to like really limp and swaggery, like a man that has pockets full of tobacco and coins. And I go over and just fucking punch the door really hard, and I go, "Open up!"
It's a couple of seconds go by, and the door will open. Huh? Oh, what do you want? It's just like a human.
What was the name of the man who sent us from the first city?
Ruga.
Sorry, what was it?
Ruga?
Roga?
Yeah.
So I'll look at him and narrow my eyes and say, "You, Odrin?"
No. Odrin will be upstairs. You want to speak with him?
And I look around, I was like, "Does he have his own place up there, or are you living together?"
Well, he kind of points in. You can see, like, in here at the ground floor, there's like a bunch of people at like computer terminals doing some kind of office work or something like that. So his office is upstairs. If you'd like to speak with him.
Please do. And I'll turn and nod for my compatriots to come with me. And I'll give him a wink, like a schoolboy wink.
Dante will give him a thumbs up.
Dude seems a little taken aback by the whole thing. He's like, okay, well, follow me, I guess. You'll need to leave your weapons here.
I ain't leaving my weapon nowhere. We're hard men, hard. Dangerous men.
Well, that's even more reason to leave your weapons here.
It's even less reason for you to try to take it.
At this point, Dante will step up and kind of raise a hand as he slips in front of Colt Cabrera. Sorry, friend. We have no weapons per se. Anything we carry is only in our defense. I'm going to attempt to charm him.
Sure. It'll just be 2 purples for this gentleman.
Even after that speech, that's amazing. Okay. Excuse me.
Yeah, he looks really nervous. He looks like he's probably just a doorman. There's a bunch of people in this building working at computer terminals and stuff. Doesn't look like a junkyard itself. Although you would have passed several junkers on the way here. The main street is kind of filled with different mechanics and engineers and stuff like that. Oh my.
So I won't be using the force, but I think
Yeah.
success is an advantage and a triumph should help.
He's like, yeah, well, okay. As long as you don't cause any trouble. Okay, you can follow me. He leads you like through the office to the back where there's a staircase. Leads you to a second floor. There's a door leading onto the second floor, but he brings you straight up to the third floor, into this really large office, wooden floors, and a huge glass wall at the far end looking onto the junkyard, or the landfill rather. And you can see that enormous droid like going around picking up junk and throwing it into its mouth. And standing there looking out at the landfill is a large Aqualish man. He turns around and he says, can I help you?
That's yet to be seen. Colt Cabrera. And I'll walk forward with a swagger.
I'm Audrin Gupta. He puts out a hand.
And I'll take it and shake it. And I want to try to intimidate him a little bit with my handshake, like squeeze extra hard.
All right, sounds good.
Athletics is this?
Yeah, it'll be 2 reds.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. Pond knows one thing, it's athletics. Okay, that looks good. 2 triumphs. Can I grab his hand so tightly that he drops down to a knee and like looks at me wide-eyed like I'm about to take his life with the stature of my handshake?
Definitely, yeah. You crush his hand to the point where he's like, oh, when he gets to one knee.
No need to kneel, friend. I'm not nobility, just a man sent by Ruga.
Ruga, let's see. Can you let go of my hand, please?
That depends. You gonna use it to get a credit stick?
Sure.
And I'll let go and I'll pick him up. I'll grab him by the shoulder and lift him. And once again, I'll turn and give a wink to those guys.
He stands up and kind of rubs at his sore hand. You know, I like that you don't mince words. It's good. I don't mince my words either. Here's the deal. I've got a lot of credits to spare, but it's the principle of this thing. When I first set up this beautiful town 2 years ago, Ruger gave me 10,000 credits as a gift to start setting this place up. And in return, I would pay him every month, which I have been doing. Now that he sees I have the money, he wants 10,000 credits. He gave me as a gift. I don't want to pay him those credits.
You don't happen to have that contract in writing, do you?
No, certainly not. We spat on it.
How long ago?
Well over 2 years now.
What percentage of the profit does he take?
5 every month.
Hold on one sec. And I'll turn over and walk over to like a huddle with like Nira and Dante and say, "Hey guys, it's me, Pon. What do you think we should do?"
As now Pawn is speaking, I want to attempt to use my force sense to gauge this guy's current emotional state to see if I can kind of see if he may be trying to deceive us or
Sure.
what's going on. Ugh, okay. Got nothing.
Nah, he seems pretty cool customer. Even after the handshake and whatnot, he's still standing there like he seems very business minded.
Does it seem like this man's lying, or can I ascertain if this man's lying or if Ruger lied to us? But I think I was there when the discourse went down between Pon and Ruger.
Yeah, you weren't there for that. You could try and gauge this man, I guess, with like a vigilance.
Had
Okay.
had Ruga ever told us what the amount was he was owed?
He said 10K.
He said 10K. Okay. So he basically just wants the gift back.
Well, that's what this guy would have you believe, yeah.
But Ruger told us this guy owes him 10,000.
Yeah. He says, look, there's no convenient trash processing world in this sector. The Empire doesn't seem to care what goes on here. As long as they get their 10%, that's fine. Maybe you should take 10%. How about this? You take whatever you like from the scrapyard. There's some ships in there, I'm sure. Take whatever you want and bring it to... and have him fix it up. Then, when you leave Endor, keep the image of the forest in your mind, because next time you come back, it won't look like that.
Now, don't be so hasty, friend. We're fixers. Perhaps we could come up to a new arrangement between you and Ruga.
I already pay the man 5% of my profits monthly.
Well, that's for what he gave you initially. What if he could offer you more services for more money?
Like what?
I don't know. I see a lot of people out there in the streets out of work. It's got to be some form of expansion.
You see that droid out there? And you look at it, it's like this enormous, like T-Rex style droid that just like picks up trash, puts it in its mouth, and there's in a furnace, like a furnace in its stomach. That does the work of 100 people. That's why I let those people go. Don't have to pay that droid anything.
Who maintenances the droid?
Does.
Was I able to ascertain if Ruga had any extra talent beyond like selling vehicles or anything like that? Did he seem to have a specialty?
Yeah, he did seem to be pretty capable. I guess he wouldn't have really figured, but by the look of things now, talking to this guy, you think he's probably much more than a vehicle salesman, you know?
Right.
How many of those clunkers do you got? The droid, I call them clunkers.
Yeah, a lot of people in the business call him that. He'll say, looking at you, I've just got the one at the moment.
Now, say we got you a second one of those droids. How much would that improve your productivity?
Massively. But they're hard to come by, extremely expensive.
I bet. Who manufactures that version of droid right there? That Sorasub or oh my god.
He's like just trying to figure out any name.
But combat automaton.
That's a good question.
While this is going on, Dante can't help but smile as he shoots a look to Nira.
Let's say it's
quite tense.
Let's say it's Bactoid. This is a Bactoid.
Now I see. What if we were to get you one of those droids?
It would definitely be worth 10,000 credits.
One moment.
I'll turn around and walk back again and say, all right, guys, do either of you know how to get a Bactoid scrap automation droid or whatever that thing is?
Dante will make a show of kind of opening his robes and patting himself down and look back to Pawn and say, nope.
This is further complicating us and tying up our time. We want to do something like this. Time is of the essence.
Yeah, he did mention allowing us to just take our pick of what we can find in here. That was our original purpose here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel right, though, about taking it for nothing? I feel like we're shaking the man down.
Isn't that what we are doing? Colt?
Well, under the guise of outlaws, I didn't actually want to be an outlaw.
We're here to get a transporter so we can take these sacred texts further to safety. If this man will pay us off with this, I think that's the best course of action.
I got an idea. What about some of those old droids from the temple?
Nero will nod at that. Yeah, we won't be able to take them. We don't have use of them. We can't repair them. We can trade them to this guy for a transporter. Still won't resolve the 10,000 with Ruger, though.
It might be. We could. I'm sure we could fix those droids up and be security droids. He'd probably pay handsomely for that. I bet he'd pay us enough to go back and give Ruga the 10,000 and clear his debt, and still have enough to buy the transport.
I like it.
What about you, Dante? I know it's maybe a bit risky. You don't think they could tell where they came from?
I do not know. My expertise is not with droids and things of that nature. I think as long as we up front secure the transport that we need, then we can at least make the attempt.
Okay, I don't want to screw this next part up. Perhaps you should speak, Dante. You've always been a better fencer with words.
Of course, if you insist. And without hesitation, he'll move over to the guy.
I suppose there'd be no crushing handshake from you.
No. Apologies for my friend. He sometimes does not know his own strength. So I believe we have come to some mutually agreeable solution. You mentioned you have various vehicles within the junkyard that we could take our pick. We do find ourselves in need of a land transport that can haul significant cargo. In exchange, we may be able to provide you not with that droid, as you said, that is hard to come by, but several other droids that you could use for labor or security in exchange for a fee that we can then use to offset this money that Rugo is trying to collect from you.
Well, I suppose security droids would be useful. However, if you're willing to get your hands dirty, we could do something a lot quicker. The perimeter of the facility stretches for several hundred acres, and on the western side, there's a little settlement, little furry idiots. They make trouble for my facility here. If you can go and take care of them, you can have the ship, but I'll pay you the required funds back to Ruga.
What kind of trouble are they causing for you?
They are tearing down fences. They are stealing from the junkyard. They are occasionally hassling the small security force that I do have. I need them taken care of.
Very well. Well, we can look into the problem for you. Before we do that, though, I would like to take a look around and see what you may have available. And as part of the deal, I need to make sure that it's working in good order.
Nothing in there is going to be in good working order, but can do some repairs for you, certainly.
Very well.
All right. Well, make yourselves at home if you so choose. At your leisure, have a look and see what you think of these some of the choicer pieces in the junkyard. You can talk to about it, and yeah, we'll see.
Very well. Thank you for your time. And Dante will bow slightly and return to the others.
Oh, and Mr. Audrin, when we do the transaction, we're gonna make a recording of it, and we're gonna get a recording from Ruga too, so that this doesn't happen again.
Most wise.
As we're leaving and well out of earshot of the junkers, I'll say to you guys, what if we go through with this and give these guys the security droids, and he weaponizes them against these native population to further expand his junkyard?
Well, that is part of the new deal, is for us to track down these natives and see if we can settle the problems. Hopefully, if we can do that effectively, then we won't have to provide droids, and we can get what I need and we need, and also settle this dispute.
Very well. Then let's go to the boundary and see if we can find these folk.
Yeah, Cabrera will take like his little silk mask and wrap it around his face like an outlaw.
Well, given that whatever that we find in the junkyard is likely going to need repairs, I'd like to get that underway first before we leave, so we won't have further delay upon our return.
Yeah, no worries. You can go have a look at whatever's in there. Let's see. You were looking for like a land vehicle, right?
Yeah, with some kind of covered cargo section so that we can transport and possibly store the techs.
Would it be a mechanics check to try and find something appropriate?
I think mechanics is good. I think perception would be workable as well, to just spot what is there, but mechanics to figure out what it is, kind of, you know.
What would be the difficulty?
It'll be 3 purples.
I'll have a look around.
Yeah, so you have a bit of difficulty finding anything. You see like a lot of like holes, burnt out holes, and like lots of pieces of vehicles, but you don't find anything that you think would be suitable for what you're looking for. However, you think like it's a pretty big junkyard and you're only right at the start, so.
Is it maybe possible that I can find someone to speak to you, let them know what we're looking for, and perhaps they can suggest something for us?
Yeah, you'll see a couple of Ugnaughts running around, little pig men. And you can try to stop one of those if you wish.
Yeah, I'll give it a try. Good day to you, sir. I'm hoping you can assist us in our search. Right. We're basically looking for land vehicle with a significant storage that we can use to haul and store goods. Do you have anything that might suit us?
He like rubbed his chin. And then he like starts to walk in a certain direction.
Yeah, not having really idea what he's saying, but I'll glance back to the others and kind of shrug and then follow after him and hoping that he understands me better than I understand him.
I'll meet up with you in a second, sir. I'm gonna go question a few of these baggers.
Sure, just try to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, I'll follow the pigmen too.
Excellent. He'll lead you like expertly, like he knows the place like the back of his hand, through a bunch of like hidden paths in the trash. You like crawl under certain bits of rubbish and like cross bridges with broken down steel beams and stuff like that, until maybe 10 minutes later. He shows you a pretty well intact light speeder, but it's got a covering, it's got a gun on top. It's big enough to carry the books, certainly. I mean, it's in bad shape, but the windows are smashed and broken. It looks like, well, actually, you wouldn't really know any more than that without a mechanics check. And he looks at it proudly and he goes,
Yes, thank you. I'll just have my friend here take a look if you don't mind. She's a little more capable in this area than I am. I'll glance over to Nira.
Yeah, I'll go and start inspecting the transporter. Is the difficulty 3 purples again?
yes. Okay, yeah. So you think it would need pretty significant repairs. You think that there's probably not a working engine in here. The repulsor engine or whatever isn't working. Definitely not. There's a lot of like superficial damage as well, but that's like not too bad. But the main thing is it would need like a new engine.
I'll like get up from out of the hood and say to these pigmen just those things, my observations, so that Dante can hear too. And I'll ask them if there's any fits around the junkyard that could replace those 2 critical things, the engine and was it burnt out hull, also engine, yeah.
Yeah, he looks at you, kind of tilts his head to the side and kind of just and looks at you knowingly, as if you're going to understand that.
Yeah, I'll like reach out of my pocket and pull out 10 credits and hand it over to him and say, sure you can't remember anything else? Specifically, I'd like a such and such type of repulsor engine to go right here to fit these specifications.
He takes the credits and he puts them into one of the pockets on his many pocketed jumpsuit. He kind of looks around to see if anyone's watching. And he leans in close and then he goes and gives you like a look with like a wink.
Very good. I'll say, I'll turn to Dante and say, if those things should get us what we need, they will take time to repair it.
Excellent. Appreciate your help, sir. If you need to verify, that's fine, but we had already spoke to Odrin about this, and he'll be finding the vehicle and said that we could have the repairs done. So if you could begin on those, we have to go see to some trouble for him.
Yep. He oinks and he takes out a data pad and starts typing stuff into it, probably verifying what you're saying.
I'll ask the small pigman before we go, like, do you know anything of this trouble? Can you describe anything of it to us?
He kind of looks a bit nervous and then he like makes a gesture showing that the whatever they are a certain height, a little bit taller than he is, and he's maybe like 3 foot tall maybe. And then he like makes a jabbing motion. And yeah, that's kind of as much as he can explain with his limited oinks.
I'll thank him kindly. Make our way to go find Pon.
Colt. All right, Colt, do you want to talk to the homeless people?
Yeah, and just to expedite kind of what I want to do, I want to just generally get a sense of why they were laid off and see if any of them have any knowledge of droid repair. Because my idea is if we bring back these non-lethal security droids, I want to set them up to be the maintenance team that repairs them so they go back to work.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess I would tell you that the job previously had been like to do with sorting trash, most of them. Back when it was still small, like junkyard rather than a huge landfill. Some of them would have been involved in like the smelting down of all the junk metal, things like that. But there would be 1 or 2 definitely who have like knowledge of droids, who would be able to. They would probably tell you able to like maintenance the droids.
So the 2 that have previous knowledge of droids, I'll pull them aside into like a group conversation and say,
I think I have a solution to get you boys back working, and here's my idea. I just so happen to have some really, really ancient security droids. They're going to require a specialized skill set to be operational. I'm willing to give you boys time to read up on them, figure out their intricacies and what you need to get them going. And then I'm going to sell them to Audrin. He's going to need someone capable of repairing them. That's going to mean you two. However, there's one big condition in my plan, and that's that you're going to have to teach those guys everything you know. I want a team of operatives, just not 2 people. I want to put this town back to work.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thanks.
Okay, now, you boys stay out of trouble for a couple days, and I'll be back. I'm going to bring you a prototype of one of the droids, so you can start working on it and figuring out how they tick.
All right.
In the meantime, get yourself a hierarchy, get to know each other, and start informing the other men.
Will do.
And I'll slap him on the shoulder, maybe just a little bit too hard, and say,
You guys and Ding Dang Dong aren't so bad.
Yeah, he chuckled. Yep, we'll be ready, Mr. Cabrera.
Good. Dismissed.
and I'll let my tendrils fly and pull up my mask and start walking to find the rest of the party.
Yep, so you guys will meet up near the entrance to the junkyard, I think.
We found a transporter, and there's an engine in the junkyard which could fit. The workers are repairing it now. You learn anything new from those men yonder?
Well, that's good news. I think I figured out a way to get them back to work. A couple of them have a little bit of experience with droids, and I think I can wrangle a deal with Audrin if we end up supplying them where he'll bring them back on as a maintenance team. That should significantly reduce the crime around here and restore the order of things, I think.
Well played, Pon.
So yes, perhaps regardless of how this other situation works out, it's an endeavor we should pursue.
Oh man, this is going to get really tricky. Did you find out what those creatures are?
Small fighters, by what the pig folk here would say.
But there may be more to the story. When she tried to garner information, he seemed real nervous to discuss the situation.
So what's our general approach on this? We're going to go in as diplomats or as warriors?
Fixers, I'll say, with a wry smile.
So diplomacy first.
Of course.
All right. Guess that means one of you two is going to lead.
Very well. I shall. And I'll head off in the direction of the boundary that Audrin described that was being harried by his interlopers.
Yep, no problem. So going through the landfill itself takes you maybe an hour and a half to walk to the western edge of it, maybe a bit longer even. You can see the enormous droid in the distance, just devouring trash. And eventually you'll come to like the western end and you can see, actually give me a perception check to see what you can see.
Sure.
Difficulty 2. Oh yeah, no problem at all. You can see like in the ground, like ruined wood. You can see like ceramic bowls and stuff, wooden cups and all, just like trod into the muck. And you think ruins of houses. It looks like they've been totally gutted or whatever and burnt, most of them, but you can, with your keen eyes, figure out that there was once a settlement here.
And then the junkyard encroached upon it.
Yep.
No wonder these folk are roused to violence. I'll say, like, putting down a broken cup to pick through the remnants of this settlement. Can I discern anything of the inhabitants by like the look of their like the technology or architecture or stuff?
Yeah, very primitive. Everything is uneven. Nothing is. Seems like everything's been made for need rather than anything special. You don't see any metal really anywhere.
The cost of industry. Can we see any tracks or the like leading away from this area into the forest, away from the junkyard?
I think with your perception check, it's pretty good. You would see evidence of like the fence having been broken and mended several times, leading towards the west. You can also see that like they've burnt, just cruelly deforested about 100 foot of the woods right next to this area to where the landfill is. Just like chopped down trees and salted the earth so that nothing will grow here. So they keep an eye out for these guys, it looks like.
Do we really wish to be improving this kind of endeavor, friends? Giving them droids, weapons, essentially.
Maybe we can figure out a way where this indigenous people can be relocated to somewhere nearby, but I doubt it. People often don't take too kindly to losing their homes.
That's true enough. And if we create jobs here, we'll create growth, which will create sprawl. Make this problem happen again and again. Could leave the town to languish as it is. Wouldn't solve the problem of being transported though. I'm used to myself.
Maybe we should produce ourselves to these people not as the outlaws, but as Jedi.
Perhaps they may know of the Jedi. Give some credence to our words. Shrug off these crude disguises. Except for yours, which is exquisite disguise, Colt.
I know, I did so good with it, but I guess I'm a Jedi, and I'll start unbuttoning my shirt.
Okay, so the plan would be to go into the woods as Jedi and try to present yourself to these people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay, so you can change out of your incredibly detailed disguises and go into the woods. It doesn't take long, maybe 10 or so minutes before you hear the first like yip, yip, yip. And looking around, you'll see like in the trees, tiny little furry people. Some of them have spears or slings, and they look very nervous of you as you approach. But one of them, he's got a skull for a helmet. Walks forward sternly. He's got like a stick with all. It's too small to be a staff. It's really a stick with all these like fetishes and stuff tied to the top of it, and he shakes it into the air.
Dante will slowly raise his hands up. Well met, friends.
I'll outstretch my hands, palms facing towards him, and like bow down nearly halfway before rising again, then put my hands to the center of my chest and say, Jedi.
He gets like real close, like right next to you, and starts like smelling your clothes and stuff. And he points to the junkyard.
I'll nod and say, yes, we have come from there. I'll point and then point to him and say, to you, just speak. And with that, I'll gesture with my free hand to my mouth.
And then he like turns and walks and like gestures for you to follow.
Full in tow, gesture for Pi and Dante to come along.
You're brought through forest pathways and stuff, through roots of enormous trees, eventually up into the trees where there's a little settlement here, maybe a mile or so from the edge of the junkyard. Looks freshly built, and at the at the central building, there's like a silver protocol droid, like sitting on this throne, and all these people, little Ewoks running around. But he brings you towards, and then he like bows to the droid, and then points to you, and he says, "Woo cha."
Indeed. And I'll step forward respectfully and kneel before the droid. Hail, Wucha. We are Jedi.
Jedi? I had heard all the Jedi had been killed. Oh, rather rude. I heard there were no Jedi left.
There are still some, as you can see. Then I'll stand up to take in this seated droid.
What are you doing here?
We've come to resolve an issue of violence between your worshippers and the junkyard beyond.
The junkyard crushed our homes. They chased us away. They burned our homes. They cut our trees. A bunch of the Ewoks nearby are like yipping in agreement.
And so you wage war upon them?
War? No. We simply try to keep them from encroaching further. They're destroying the forest. They've already destroyed so much of it.
Have you? Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Pon. I'm also a Jedi. Have you tried to speak with the scrapyard?
I have seen many droids in that scrapyard, ruined and destroyed. I'm fearful. And my followers, brave as they are no match for blasters.
They see you as some deity?
I'm not really sure myself. I wandered away from Glingdang a long time ago, and I've been living here ever since. They seem to think that I'm a king, a god. I'm not sure.
You would possess much knowledge that they would not, least of which languages of other inhabitants of this planet. But do you act with their best interests in mind?
I believe so. They've been kind to me. I try to ensure that their forest home is not destroyed.
And what success have you had against the junkyard?
Very little. Occasionally, we'll destroy the fence and we'll, threaten them, try to make them see that this is not the right way to go. But the Ewoks won't let me leave.
Heavy lies the crown.
Indeed.
Perhaps we could broker a deal between yourselves and the junkers. They would not encroach in this part of the forest further. You will not attack their fences.
But what of the rest of the forest? What of to the north and to the east? What there? What if there are other tribes? What if they continue to destroy the forest? This is a paradise.
But that'll turn back to the others. This is Dante. He too is a Jedi.
As the two are speaking, Dante will be standing with his hands clasped under his robes as he's looking around, just observing these people, obviously not just mindless creatures as they were led to believe. At his name being spoke, he'll turn his attention back to the others and he'll say, "Has there been any loss other than your homes and your territory?"
The first time that we went, we came in force. Well, the Ewoks did. Not all of them made it back. They tell me that there were blasters and a large, a Qualish man with a sword.
Are there more of these people? You say that they're perhaps in these other areas. Do you know, or just suspect?
I suspect. I've not had contact with any other tribes, but this tribe has told me that there are others as well as quarks, larger, burlier, um, less intelligent, indigenous life here.
Dante will look between Nira and Pawn.
Do we know, Lloyd, what the government right now of Endor is like? Like, who provisionally controls Endor?
It's the Empire, but only very provisionally. Like, there's not really a government here.
Is there like an official though that has like I guess like symbolic control?
Yeah, I guess it would
Or
be.
influence?
There'd probably be a governor, like an imperial governor. Although where, you wouldn't be sure. Probably one of the bigger cities, but there's no big cities near where you've been.
And would Pawn know? This is a question I'm not sure of. Would Pawn know if a governor would have the authority to like quarantine a private enterprise, like the scrapyard, say like declare this part of the forest off limits as like a game reserve or something?
Yeah, I mean, I think Pond would think that the Empire has the authority to do whatever it wants. However, Audrin had told you that he pays the Empire, 10%, like a tithe, basically.
Yeah, they wouldn't want to change that.
Yeah, and I don't know that they'd be inclined to want to help in that situation anyway, but yeah.
Well, there's perhaps another solution. We could, if we could somehow cut the top out, like perhaps replace Audrin. I'm not speaking of like killing him or anything like that, but put somebody else in charge of the scrapyard operation.
That might be something worth looking into.
I don't have the senses of you or Nira though. My mind's pretty cloudy on this. I can only see out a little ways. I have no idea what the ramifications of that would be.
Yeah. Another more drastic idea that I was thinking was sabotaging their main workforce.
Robot?
That droid, yes.
What if
regardless of our need of this transport, at least in my mind, this world belongs to these people, and to participate or to stand by while their homes are destroyed and their lives are taken does not sit well with me.
we could maybe take those security droids and repurpose them for this indigenous people. That might hold them off from expansion for a time. I don't know, though, if this protocol droid has either the knowledge or the expertise, though, to control them.
Dante will shift his gaze over Pawn's shoulder to look at the protocol droid.
Yeah, he's got like a crown of like flowers and stuff on, and he's kind of just like looking bewildered around at the Ewoks, who seem to just be so excited to be back in his presence. So I'm not a mechanic. I wouldn't know how to. I don't know. And security droids. I mean, what if they just beat me up?
And Pawn would laugh at that and say, "Oh, it wouldn't be anything like that. They would be slave to your control. I mean, you would give them orders and they would respond without fail. But if you have no knowledge of engineering or mechanics, I don't think it's going to work."
I am fluent in 6 billion forms of communication.
Perhaps you could help me. What was your name again? I'm sorry.
Ucha is what they call me here.
Ucha. Do these indigenous people have a oral history?
They do.
Perhaps you could ask their chief if there's ever been a time in the past when multiple tribes have been called together in like a war council or anything to that effect.
Certainly. He'll turn to the little guy who had the stick, and he'll start yipping at him. And they converse for a little while. And he'll say, so far, there have been two instances. One with the Empire first. Hello?
You cut out there, sorry.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, there we go. He says, one when the Empire first came here, although they were quickly shut down and retreated to their forest homes. And another time, there was quite a large conflict with the Quarks. But it is possible.
How are the other tribes informed? Are they called somehow?
Can you send some of your followers to gather representatives from the other tribes?
Sorry, guys, I lagged out there for a second. I missed that. I didn't hear what Andrew said or you said, Dennis.
Basically, what's the method of summoning the tribes?
Okay. Yeah, they would converse again for a little time, and he would say, "Messenger are sent," and they would meet at the village of the tribe who had called the summons. Chieftains would come, and then from there, they would see if it's worth engaging.
How long would such a summoning take?
He says weeks, if not months.
Pon would turn back to Dante and Nier and say, "Oh man, how fast of a ship did those smugglers have? Any of you guys get a look at the nacelle next to their hyperspace or their hyperdrive?"
Unfortunately, I didn't. Was that?
What does the hyperdrive look like?
I couldn't
And,
understand the guy describing it to me. But he seemed confident it was good.
Shit. Well, they could have betrayed the location of that a certain place. Between any time, say a few days from now to a month from now, I've really got no clue if they spoke at all.
Yes. One approach might be to speak to the Highness over here and have him arrange for his people to stay away from the junkyard and out of sight and to avoid any conflict. And perhaps we can discreetly sabotage the droid to buy some time. And while scouts are being sent to gather to set this meeting, we could return with a transport to remove the text from the temple and then return here to meet with the chieftains.
Now, if we supply the scrapyard with the security droids, there might be a way for us to put something in their programming that acts as like a kill switch if they try to give them orders to harm these people.
That's a good point. I don't know if I possess the skill to be able to do that. Like programming droids and stuff.
I most certainly don't, but perhaps one of those men out of work do. I guess, though, that doesn't really solve the problem of the security they already have.
Well, that's why if we were able to disable their droid, that will slow down their work. They'll have to focus on that. And if we're able to, use that to buy time to return, and if we can bring those mechanics that you found with us to work on the droids, and when we return to meet with the chieftains, we can also supply the droids to Odrin.
Yeah, and if they have no current security droids, it would put us in a rather strong bargaining position, I suppose. Really couldn't turn us down. I mean, he's paranoid of these tribal people. We know that much. He sent us here. So if he's without security,
Unfortunately, it's a plan with a lot of moving parts, but it's the best that I can think of.
it's perhaps a bit more complex than we initially had planned, but if we succeed, I think we'll stabilize the entire region.
That's what Master Arm would do.
It seems our course is set.
So is it right for us to sabotage the incinerator droid?
I think that's the plan.
I guess if it serves the greater good.
Yes, if it will, even for a brief time, cease the conflicts between these peoples and stave off the destruction of the homes and death of these people, I think it's our best course.
It's bad for business, but good for life.
Very well. Are we agreed?
I think so. So we're going to have to do this discreetly. When do we strike tonight?
Well, I think as long as the opportunity presents itself, yes. We need to speak with the droid and have him send the scouts and speak to his people about them stay hidden away until we return. And assuming that that goes well, then we should return to the junkyard and see about our transport and what we can do to sabotage this droid. A lot of it will probably hinge on tracking those men that you spoke to, seeing if they will help us, and probably need their assistance in the sabotage as well as returning with us to look at the other droids.
They'll most certainly help with the other droids, but as far as the sabotage is concerned, I'm a little bit dubious. We might be able to convince them, though, to give us the information we need about those droids without them even knowing what we intend to do with it.
Agreed, yeah. Perhaps Nira has more knowledge, but if we can find a way to sabotage it without it looking, my approach, the only thing I'd be able to do is to, chop at it till it stopped working, and that would be obvious. We need something a little more discreet.
Is there some large body of water in this region, Lloyd?
Certainly, yeah. I think Endor is littered with beautiful, pristine lakes and stuff like that.
Reprogram this droid, to just hair off and submerge itself. Like it just malfunctioned and ran off, but could never be found. Actually, I guess they have a way of recovering it by tracking it, but
yeah,
I don't like the idea of going in with lightsabers against this thing. It will likely gobble one of us up and incinerate us.
Yes, and it would not be beneficial for something like that. We need something where it looks like it was a malfunction of some sort.
Well, if we couch our conversation with those out-of-work men in a way that makes them think we're just trying to get a better idea of what the security droids need to defend, maybe we can glean some information about that incinerator droid they don't want us to know.
Agreed. And as I understand it, that droid is the reason most of the people are out of work anyway, so they're likely to not be very guarded on their thoughts regarding it.
Makes sense. Boy, using your mind's a lot harder than doing push-ups.
Dante will chuckle, and he'll move forward to address to address the robot, the droid. He'll bow, Your Highness. With your approval, I would request that you send scouts to arrange a meeting here with your people and the other tribes. Also, I would ask that while we return to the junkyard and take care of some other business, that you have your people stay hidden and avoid conflict with those of the junkyard until we return to try to resolve this issue for you and your people.
But for what purpose am I gathering the War Council?
It is our intent to come up with a way to ensure the safety of not only your tribe, but all of the people, the natives of this place.
Master Droid, the Jedi have a long, steeped history of acting as negotiators and arbiters in matters like this. Perhaps we can come to a mutual agreement between all tribes in the scrapyard.
Yes, that would be best. Certainly. I give you permission to leave, brave Jedi. He says, like a wave of his stupid little hand.
Thank you, Wucha.
Yes, you're very gracious, sir.
Yeah, Pan will nod his head.
So if you can relay those requests, and we will return as soon as we are able to meet with you and the others to resolve this issue.
Indeed. We shall speak soon, Master Jedi.
Probably for the first time, Dante is feeling very much like a Jedi as he bows and turns and begins heading back to the junkyard.
Yeah, you see the protocol droid turn to like the assembled little Ewoks next to him, and they begin skittering off.
Pan will start to reassemble his disguise, like buttoning up his shirt, and he'll say, "Man, being two Nautolan's really hard."
So we want to head back to the junk.
What's the plan, guys?
Yeah, Pan would be ready to go back to the junkyard.
Yep, that's the plan, to head back, check on the status of the vehicle, and also start trying to do some scouting out as far as this large droid.
Yep, no problem. So you can get back towards the junkyard. You can see that the junk droid is in the eastern quadrant, like standing next to this mountain of rubble, just like picking up chunks of it, throwing it into its mouth. And you can make your way back towards the ship that you had seen, or the vehicle. And you can see that there are some Ugnaughts working on it, working on getting an engine in there, the repulsor field and everything like that. Yep.
Can we see the incinerated droid from here?
Yeah, he's in the western quadrant. Just like
we could hear it, I guess.
Yeah, you could even see it. It's really, really huge. And it like picks up big handfuls of trash, puts it into its enormous maw, which are then like melted down.
Yeah, Colt will pull up his scarf and nod at you guys and go to find the men.
Mr. Cabrera.
Pull the scarf back down.
How are you doing there, son?
Well, a little bit better. With the prospect of work, you know.
Actually, that's why I came to talk to you. I have a couple questions about the security around here, trying to gauge how many droids I need to bring.
Right. Well, from what I can tell, the operation is pretty huge, much bigger than when I worked here. Definitely a couple 100 acres. There's an electric fence around the outside of the whole place.
Now, Audrin, when I was talking to him, he spent a lot of time talking about that incinerator droid. Mighty proud of that thing. Mm-hmm.
Stupid machine. Yeah, it's extremely efficient. It turns all the scrap metal into like an alloy. It takes all the plastic, melts it down, and turns it into reusable plastic. The rest it just incinerates.
Droid like that does warrant protecting for sure, but kind of surprises me it doesn't have any defense system itself, does it?
I don't know. We never really tried to do anything to it. It's pretty huge. I don't know if it has any combat programming.
Also, pretty hard to protect that thing with how much it moves around. I bet they have to maintenance that thing. What do you think? Every couple days, every week?
Yeah, I think the Ugnaughts follow it around and do maintenance as it moves most of the time. It's like an ongoing job.
Wow. So they never take that thing offline. Never.
I haven't seen it offline, but maybe they do sometimes. But you can pretty much hear the crunching 24/7.
I see. Well, that was most enlightening. I think I got a pretty good idea of what I need.
All right, well, we're waiting for you, Mr. Cabrera.
Yeah, expect that prototype in the next couple days. Give you something to do.
Alrighty.
Pull up my scarf and twinkle my fingers up in the air and turn around and go back to the group. So yeah, when Pawn approaches, I'll pull down the scarf and I'll be like, all right. Bad news. Doesn't seem like they ever take that droid down from maintenance, and those little pigmen follow it everywhere.
They operate it, no doubt.
Sure that they do. He said they're constantly performing maintenance, like it's an ongoing task, and that the droid is in operation 24/7.
Dante, could you convince the pigmen to stop working on the droid? And she'll accent convince.
If we could manage some kind of minor distraction that I could use to alter the focus.
Mm-hmm. They do seem to like credits.
Do we know how soon before the landcraft will be ready?
I would guess sometime. I wouldn't know exactly, but to fix up a hull and to put a new engine in, I assume only a couple of hours have gone by since we first organised that.
Yeah, you think with how crafty these little Ugnaughts are, like a day at most for it to be functional, and maybe another day for it to be pretty.
Okay.
So we have a little time then.
Time for the War Council too.
Yep, and we were given the offer of hospitality, so we can spend the next day or so that it takes for the repairs to just kind of scout things out. I will observe these people and their task on this droid, and perhaps something will reveal itself. Otherwise, I think when the time comes that we can arrange a minor distraction, and then I can try to convince the people to deal with that, giving us enough time to try to sabotage it.
So what kind of distraction?
Preferably something that would require the attention of the workers.
Oh, I know.
And he stops and goes, "Oh, sorry. Get a little bit carried away there. I'm starting to think I am Mr. Cabrera. What if And I don't know if it would be Nira and I, or you and I, Dante, or you and Nira. But with our Jedi flow from training, we could make a fight look pretty damn real without harming each other. We could create quite a commotion.
With our sabers, though? Like, what kind of a fight?
Hand to hand, maybe we could get some kind of primitive weapons.
I'm sure there's something in the junk that would approximate like a training weapon or a sword of some sort. The time we have, could even perhaps go to the woods, find some wood, or use perhaps the training sabers. Though I don't know, that would not be wise. That could possibly give away our identity here.
Would these and so what are we trying to just deceive a few of these pigmen into like coming to be like to watch us, and then you're going to sabotage the droid by speaking to a few of them, or like charming a few of them?
Yeah,
or you're going to get into the panel on the droid?
Yeah, if I can convince even just one that some adjustments are necessary that aren't, it's a risk. But if we, make ready to leave, then we'll just deal with any outcome that we need to.
You're extremely strong, right, Pond? What if you were to like lift down some heavy piece of junk onto yourself, and I could cause an alarm like he's trapped, and get them to come over to assist? And while the bulk of them are helping you, Dante can catch one unawares.
I most certainly could do something like that. This reminds me of a story I read in that book, the Jedi Master Varys Clan, and I'll like swoop my hand all majestically. He once had to do something like this with the Mon Calamari, and he played off their honor. But I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked here. What I mean to say is, maybe we should try to find out what makes these pigmen tick. Maybe they have some kind of cultural weakness we can play off of, like sympathy, perhaps. If they're really worried about an accident.
That's a good call. Would that be lore? A knowledge of these creatures?
Yeah, lore.
Oh yeah.
Well, think about what I know about them.
I have a 2 lore skill, 2 yellow, like 2 training. Does anybody have a higher like base, like intellect skill?
No,
I have 1 yellow and 1 green.
What about Nira? Is she a brainiac?
No, she's only got 2 lore, 2 green.
Shit.
Oh, 3, sorry, 3 green, but yeah.
Oh, you have 3 green. Okay, you make the check. I'll do a skilled assist to you.
So that'll be one of mine goes to a yellow.
Or wait, but you don't have any training in it. Fuck.
No.
So it's got to be in.
Yeah.
But I can give you an assist, right? Because I have 1 yellow.
You could, but since you're int so low, it doesn't actually give me anything.
Oh, okay.
We could just do like normal boost though, like where you both assist me and I just make the roll, so it'd be like 2 yellow, 2 blue.
Okay, sure.
Like we put our heads together.
Yep, I'll tell all that I know.
What would the difficulty be, Lloyd?
I guess. Let's call it 4.
4 purple. All right. Yes. And no.
Okay, Ugnaughts. It's a little tiny pig man. They are very fond of technology. They sometimes like to have a tribal system. What else would you get? They like to fight each other in duels using their tusks. And you think that they have a disdain for the weak. you think that they probably what would you say, a little bit cruel-minded in the way they act towards each other, not particularly kind. And I think you would also discover that they value valor greatly, even though they're very little.
What if we take the plan for a heavy object to fall on me and we modify it just slightly? Say we set it up to where the heavy object is going to fall on the most senior of these pigmen, and I dive in and grab him and get pinned underneath it, protecting him. And then when he squeals and goes off like an alarm, everybody will run over to see what happens because they'll all be greedy enough to think they might have a promotion.
Mm-hmm. That should do it. We just need to find an appropriate object now.
Yeah, make the object something of technical value, and I think we've got the hat trick.
Or something that's heavy that's nearby to this guy, and perhaps we could like move it. Or I could move it with my mind.
And you'll see what,
for instance.
You'll see like a single bead of sweat form on the side of Pon's face. He'll say, "This is going to be really dangerous. I think I can do it, though."
Yeah, no doubt. Your physical powers.
I have no doubt that such a simple task will be easy for Colt Cabrera.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. So yeah, you can definitely move towards the droid itself. Enormous, maybe 50 feet tall. Just like walks around, picks up with these huge like shovel hands, just tons of this garbage, and just throws it into its huge mouth. And there's a fire burning really hot in the center of this droid, and you can see that like or you would see every maybe 10 minutes it stops. And then from like a hatch on the side comes like a cube of metal or a cube of plastic that's just like placed on the ground. There's Ugnaughts swarming all over it, some of them up at the head, while others are like looking at joints and stuff and like try to fix them as best they can as the thing continues to move.
Now, are we launching this plan, guys, after our transport's ready and at night of that following day?
That was my suggestion. That way it gives us the most optimal time that it takes for them to get it running again while we run back and take care of the stuff at the temple. And
well, shit, Pon's ready then. Like, if you guys want to like jump ahead in time or whatever.
Yep, it's fine with me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so
I doubt from my angle I'd do anything else.
Yeah. He selects particularly portly, older-looking Ugnaught with like a pair of circular glasses resting on his pig face. He's got a data pad in one hand, and he's like looking up at the droid. He's like scratching his chin.
Okay. Pawn will activate enhanced control brawn, but he'll be doing it out under the guise of Colt, and there'll be no visible change, but I'm enhancing my body with the Force.
No problem.
Yeah, I'll fall in behind Pon, like in servile manner, like before we met with Odrin. I'm just going to look about above where this portly Ugnaught on a data pad is and see if there's anything around that of an appropriate size that I could move to like jolt it from its place on the junk stacks to fall down or collapse, threatening this guy.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. There's like a broken down airspeeder. Well, mainly just the chassis of it is up there. There's also like a couple of these metallic cubes that have been like stacked up into a tower, maybe 30 feet high, that the creature had made, not the creature, the droid had made. And yeah, a bunch of other just like generic junk, like yeah, just like lots of sheet metal and just metal bars and shit like that.
Yeah, I ideally want to move something from nearby to a top so that a couple of things would fall down, but still, I would think manageable by pawn to deflect or hold up that are nearby to this guy. And I'll wait till pawn gets close enough, assuming that we've already spoke about this before. And maybe one of those cubes.
Pawn will shoot you the signal, Nira.
And I think I just roll my force dice for that, right, Lloyd?
I think so, yeah. Move. Uh-oh. Do you want to give it the dark side and use that force, or do you want to not use it?
This is like the critical moment because I'm assuming Dante is already in place. No, I won't. It will like begin to like jolt this like cube up ahead, and then I'll find my powers wanting because I'm too far away. I hadn't taken that into account. As I like to hurriedly try and move closer, I realise I don't have the strength, and with the doubt, it begins to fall apart. But I'll turn away from the easy path and just kind of trying to stare daggers into the back of Pond's head to get his attention. Just like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Shit, the pig man's moving. I go down and say, "Greetings there, Chief." Pleasant day for a junkyard stroll, wouldn't you say?
He points at the big droid, and he looks at you like raising an eyebrow, like, why are you here?
Audrin has me scoping out everything that goes on at night because I'm supplying him with some new security droids.
He looks in his data pad, looks up to you, looks at the data pad again, types in a couple words, looks at you again.
Colt Cabrera, friend.
Raises an eyebrow.
And Pawn will walk in a semicircle in a way that's meant to divert his vision away from the approaching Nira.
And so what I'm going to do is just lean down and try and pick up a hand-sized piece of junk or the like. And because I can see in the dark, like move around, try and keep the shadows where I can, and hurl that in a lob away from this. So as right as they're talking about security matters or the like, it's like, dunk, dunk, dunk. What's that? Is that an intruder?
Yeah, okay. No problem. Yeah, you could do that without rolling even. Clunk. You see the pigman's eyes go wide, and he squeals.
Oh shit, that's what I'm talking about. That's why Audrin has me here. Come on, Chief. Someone's coming after the perimeter.
Like squeals and like points at the droid, and like a bunch of the Ugnaughts on there look like really afraid. And they start squealing as well. It's really fucking loud, as well as the grinding of like twisted metal from the droid itself.
Oh, and this is where I'm going to abuse some of the knowledge I have. I'm going to briskly walk forward and try to outpace the chief and say,
"Looks like this is a job for an Autolin, yep."
And try to play into his valor complex.
He looks deeply confused at the situation, but we'll try and keep up with you. Looks like he's afraid.
No need, friend. Autolin will solve this.
And I'll brick up the pace even more to try to like outpace him so I can steal the glory.
Doesn't look concerned at all, really. He looks concerned more at the droid and the Ugnaughts on there. And is confused by the situation, it looks like. But yeah, a bunch of the Ugnaughts get off the droid. They're like climbing down, trying to get off it.
In Pawn's head, he's just thinking, "Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!"
So does it look like some are remaining behind?
Yeah, well, a lot of them are climbing off, and you can see like the portly guy take a comm thing to his mouth and just like.
Does there look like any huge pile of junk, like something with a large object towards the top of it that I could try to loop him around on my pursuit?
Yeah, certainly. The junk is like organized into these big sort of mountains, whatever. You could definitely bring them around one.
So I will, I'll aim for one of them, and I'll nod my head towards it ever so slightly, hoping that Nira's watching, so she can see that I'm trying to lure him and like right underneath this large crate or piece of junk.
She'll nod and begin focusing herself and centering her power.
Yeah, a bunch of the other pigmen start to follow their portly leader. While a bunch of others, well, actually, 3 others stay at the droid.
So Andrew, you want me to drop that block down? Try a second time.
Yeah, that's definitely the notion you will get.
Fine. Okay. In that case, if I think no one's looking, I'll just close my eyes, time my breathing, and then just reach out with my hand, and it begins to rumble and move. Oh, damn, dark side.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear going on, a lot of stress. At this pivotal moment, you find it hard to center yourself. But then a whisper, use your fear.
I like drive my hands away, like down to my side, like swiftly, like shaking away the voice. But as I do, I gasp in horror as it collapses.
Nice. Yeah, it
No.
begins plummeting downwards.
And that's when Colt will jump into action with like preternatural speed and dive at the pigman, trying to barrel roll closer to the junk so that where it lands is on top of us, but dealing neither of us damage.
Okay. So give me a athletics.
What do you want the difficulty to be?
So you want to knock him aside, but also, so you want to land under the junk, but in a way that doesn't hurt you. The idea?
Yeah, like, so as I'm running forward in slow motion, I'm looking at the junk falling and I'm looking at him. And what I see in my mind is a path where I dive and grab him and then roll to the side. So it pins like right on top of us, but doesn't crush either of us.
Gotcha. Okay, let's call that 4 purples.
Fair. Do you want to use a dark side point on this?
Certainly.
Yeah, let's make it interesting. All right, here we go.
Splat. The Ugnaughts head crushed by the metal cube.
And
But you're okay.
with my advantages, what I want to do is make absolutely no noise. I want to like feign death.
Yeah,
Yeah,
imagine
no
you
problem.
got a good bit of blood and brain and bit on you.
Yeah, because as he like splatters me, like Pawn's innocent, like pure eyes would open up in horror as he realizes that their mission just like killed this pig man. And I would go to like scream, but then like put my hand over my mouth and just squeeze tightly.
Yep. So you lie there still. And I guess Nira looks in horror at what she's done as the Ugnaughts head is just like crushed by the corner of this cube. And a lot of the other Ugnaughts like stand looking in horror as well, just like squealing, screaming.
Are there still 3 over by the thing?
Yeah, there are. They haven't seen this.
So I haven't seen it either. Correct.
Nope.
I'm going to like turn
I sense
to
a
these big.
disturbance.
I was just going to say, I'd turn to these big guys and say, I'll go for help. And I'll start running towards where Dante and the other 3 were.
Okay. So what do you want to do, Dante?
So yeah, as the others are pulled away, I'm going to try to get the attention of one of the pigmans and draw him away from the others towards this large droid.
Yep.
I was curious. I thought perhaps you could tell me a little bit about this contraption.
He looks nervously to the side, wondering like what that noise was and everything. He looks kind of nervous. He's like,
Oh, okay. Do you guys ever have any problems with it? Malfunctioning or acting haywire or anything like that?
He continues grunting, and he like nods, and he points at a few parts of the droid.
So this is like an incinerator, right? Do you ever have problems with it, like overheating?
He shakes his head.
So it has like its own like coolant system, I'd imagine. Okay, at this point, what is his discipline? What would be my difficulty for a discipline attack?
It would be 2 purples.
Okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and use that too. Oh boy. Let's see what happens. Okay. So, man, crap. Okay. So as I reach out to the force and I feel that darkness, I pause for a moment. Then I remember the sight of the destruction of the forest and these pretty much in my eyes defenseless people and the greed and the evil of this place. And so I just curl my fingers into my palm as I continue to call for the force. And basically, I'm doing where I can force the target to adopt an emotional state or believe something untrue, lasting for a round or 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I'm going to use that to convince him, as we're speaking of it, that this thing is beginning to overheat and that it needs to be submerged in a large body of water to save it, or it's going to explode and destroy the whole junkyard.
Yeah, he looks terrified. His pig eyes go wide, and he runs back to the droid. He's climbing up. He's like grunting at the other two, and they're like, "What?" And he's like grunting crazily. And he goes into the back of it and like presses a bunch of buttons, moves a bunch of switches and stuff, and the droid just like turns, like drops the trash it's holding, and just like turns, begins walking towards the edge of the fence. You can see on the other side there. There's like a little filthy little lake. Where a lot of the runoff gets sent to, and it begins walking in that direction.
About that time, I think I'd run around the corner of the junk stacks to where Dante and the 3 pigmen are, and I'll call out to them, "Quickly, you all must come! Someone's been hurt! Quick!"
The one who has been convinced that something is wrong stays, but the other two are like, "What?" And they like grunt a bunch of questions at you, but they follow.
Yeah, and I'm behind them, and I cast a glance over my shoulder at it moving. My features are impassive, though I feel a deep pit or a deep pain in the pit of my stomach at what I've done, but I just focus on the moment and kind of hurry the 2 Ugnaughts ahead of me as I push them along after Nira.
Yep. So you guys around the corner, and you that I would see Pond like next to a ruined body of an Ugnaught, lying motionless next to this huge metal cube. There's Ugnaughts all around, just like grunting like crazy. A lot of them on comms, and you can eventually hear like an alarm go off from the facility.
As soon as I around the corner and see this, I stop dead in my tracks. That dread just increasing tenfold as I see Pawn and this creature, blood and mess, thinking that they're both dead at this point. It's just this cold numbness that moves through my body, and I'm unable to move.
I think I'll sprint over, ignoring the pigmen, over to Pon. I think I saw him faint, right? Or drop unconscious.
I think it'll happen very quickly. You probably would have seen the cube fall and then like a splat. And I'd say for the sake of drama, you would have just seen the splat, and then the cube is between you and their vision of the others, of like Pon and the Ugnaught.
I think I'd still sense Pon
Yeah.
with the force. I'd like run around to him, kneel down. and try and rouse him.
Yeah, Pawn would be he'd be like squeezing his eyelids like so tight, and he has like this acid trippy image where it's like back at the temple in the jungle, and there's like smoke and everything has this like grit over the lens of it, and like black flame is just licking out of the side of the temples, and there's like blood smeared all the way up the steps, and someone is like painted like bloody letters over the entrance to the temple, and it says like um, Jedi failures, and it's just like dripping down and like pooling at the bottom of it, and like all the monuments have been defaced and stuff. And Pawn is just like gritting his teeth, thinking of how the Jedi just failed so hardcore. Like we were supposed to be the guardians of peace, and now because of this plan, we've ended up destroying this pigman. And as you're like shaking him, you'll like pull him out of his torpor a bit until he'll like turn and look at you and like put on a bit of a show, going, "Oh, oh, oh no, what happened? Oh, oh, oh."
Yeah, I'll try and like haul Colt Cabrera away from the fray, and like looking to Dante, like relieve, like it's okay. Pon is fine, and I'm going to try and put myself in front of Pon and like the gory mess that I created behind it, so at least he's just looking at me instead. And I'll act as if I'm like checking to see if he's okay, but my main intent is just to block his vision of the macabre.
Yeah, perfect. You'll hear that alarm going off from the town itself. As the Huguenots all around are just looking terrified at what's going on. And then you hear like a psh, you can see like the droid begin like to step into the water. There's this huge cloud of steam going up as the incinerator like hits the water. And a speeder is beginning to like pull towards you guys. And you can see on the back of the speeder, Audrin looking none too pleased, heading towards you guys.
Kind of roused from my trance as I hear Pon's voice and see Nero lifting him up, I'll turn the sound of the speeder and I'll point over to the mess over there as I wave my hand like I'm trying to direct them and hurry them over to the accident site.
Yeah, the speeder keeps coming. The Ugnaughts are like trying to move the huge cube off the head of their one-time leader, and yeah, there's just like the huge kind of steam begins to move towards you and just filling the whole area as the incinerator begins to go out, and you can hear like the droid just begin to like fail as it walks into the water. Yeah, and the speeder will like pull up next to you, and Udrin will get out a sword in his hand and say, "What is the fucking meaning of this?"
And Colt will be like fucking limping, and I imagine there's like a trickle of like green blood going down the side of his arm, scraped from the cube, because he cut it so close. And I'd be like, debris fell out of nowhere and it crushed him. I tried to jump and save him, but I wasn't fast enough.
He looks down. And he looks at the ruin of the Ugnaught, and he says, "Not Upta." He looks at the others. And he shakes his head. And then he like realizes the cloud of steam. And he's like, "What? What? What did you do? The droid is in the water."
Dante makes a show of looking over. Well, when all this started, one of these creatures said something about he was telling me about the droid, and I was talking about ask him questions about it, and was asking about like coolant and stuff, and he suddenly became alarmed, said something about it overheating, and just took off. And then this happened, and I was called over here. I don't know what's going on.
He looks kind of slowly from one of you to the next, and then to the next, not the Ugnaughts. Then he says, "We'll get to the bottom of this. You're coming with me."
Of course, I need a medical droid too. Oh.
Yeah, my friend is injured. If if you have some that can see to him, but I can come with you and we can deal with the situation.
Your weapons.
Do I imagine like Colt has like some kind of cheap weapon he picked up in town?
Yeah, I would think you guys. I mean, you probably have blasters as well as you get it.
Yeah, I've got the Imperial blaster that I took from the first session, and I'll just bring it out to present to them, but I'll just shake my head.
Yeah, I'll turn him over and say, it all happened so fast, and try to like summon like a ghostly visage on my face.
We'll get to the bottom of this, he says again. And he's just like shaking his head at the ruin of his operation all of a sudden. Go ahead, Dave.
Should we free your man and remove the body so it can be seen to? I don't feel right just leaving it laying like that.
The Ugnaughts will take care of their own.
Of
You're
course,
coming with me, he says again.
as you wish.
Yeah, and I think that's where we'll leave it for today. This is super late on my end here, and I'm still feeling pretty crappy. Yeah, but we're playing again tomorrow. I think we'll have Sulos with us again. Which will be
baby.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks to anyone who watched. I hope you had a good time.